So the hadith said, باب المعاصي من أمر الجاهلية ولا يكفر صاحبها بارتكابها إلا بالشرك. He said, since they are among the things that happened during the time of ignorance. The time of ignorance is known as before the Prophet ﷺ started preaching Islam. So, وَلَا يُكَفَّرْ صَاحِبُهَا بِارْتِكَابِهَا. So if you commit those sins that people were committing before Islam started, it does not make you a disbeliever. It does not remove you from Islam. إِلَّا بِالشِّرْكِ, except for shirk. That is, except for you associating partner with Allah, committing shirk, worshipping another God except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Worshipping another God with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَلَا تُشْرِكُوا بِهِ شَيْئًا. You should not associate partner with him. لقول النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إنك امرؤ فيك الجاهلية وقول الله تعالى إن الله لا يغفر أن يشرك به ويغفر ما دون ذلك لمن يشاء. So he said, explaining this piece of talk, explaining the chapter, that's al-ma'asi min amr jahiliya, that sins are from the people of ignorance, from the ignorant time, وَلَا يُكَفَّرْ صَاحِبُهَا بِارْتِكَابِهَا, that if someone should commit them, it does not make you a non-Muslim. إِلَّا بِالشِّرْكِ, except for shirk. لِقَوْلِ النَّبِي صلى الله عليه وسلم, because of the hadith of the Prophet said, إِنَّكَ مْرُؤٌ فِيكَ جَاهِلِيَّةٌ. There was an incident that happened. The Prophet told the man that you still have some ignorant attitude in you. There are some attitude that people were practicing before Islam that are forbidden of us Muslims. You still have them in you. The Prophet started preaching Islam that have been forbidden from us, because most of the Sahabas, before they accepted Islam, they were called what? It's kind of al-Jahiliyyah, when he was still ignorant, when he had not accepted Islam. So the Arabs then, before they accepted Islam, that period was where they call what? Jahiliyyah, Asrul Jahiliyyah, the time of ignorance. So إِنَّكَ مْرُؤٌ فِيكَ جَاهِلِيَّةٌ, that you are a person that still have those bad attitudes of the non-ignorant people. وَقَوْلِ اللَّهِ تَعَالَى إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَغْفِرْ أَن يُشْرَكَ بِهِ. Then explaining it is the ayah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Allah does not forgive for someone to associate partner with him. وَيَغْفِرْ مَا دُونَ ذَلِكَ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ. But he forgive any other sin for anyone he wishes. So the hadith, quickly with the text and just summarize the bit. حدثنا سليمان بن حرب قال حدثنا شعبة عن واصل عن المعرور قال لقيت أبا ذر بالربذة وعليه حلة وعلى غلامه حلة فسألته عن ذلك فقال إني ساببت رجلا فعيرته بأمه فقال لي النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يا أبا ذر أعيرته بأمه إنك امرؤ فيك جاهلية إخوانكم قولكم جعلهم الله تحت أيديكم فمن كان أخوه تحت يده فليطعمه مما يأكل ويلبسه مما يلبس ولا تكلفوهم ما يغلبهم فإن كلفتموهم فأعينوهم. So the story was about Abu Dharr. The hadith is about Abu Dharr. Then hadith that was originated based on an attitude that Abu Dharr performed. Let me briefly read about the story. Abu Dharr, there was a time. Abu Dharr is one of the most honorable people in before he accepted Islam. Even while he went after he accepted Islam, he was one of the most honorable people. I mean, someone of honor. He was rich and he was well respected among the Arabs. Abu Dharr was Abu Dharr al-Ghifari. That's his name, Abu Dharr al-Ghifari. So he was very respected among people and he was wealthy. One of the signs that we know he was wealthy was among those that have slaves. But all some of his slaves, after they accepted Islam, the Prophet made him to know that you are your slave, and to Ma'ala Sawa. It was not the way they were treating slaves before Islam, that was the same way they treat slaves after Islam. So there was a time, based on, we are all Muslims, slaves and the rich, they are all the same. So they had an argument, they were kind of arguing in the mosque. The Sahabas, they gathered, they're just making some normal arguments. Sahabas are human. They are not malaika that change to human or malaika in the shape of human. No. They are all human beings like us. People that have committed sins and make tawbah after they accepted Islam. So they were communicating and they were making arguments. And Abu Dhar mentioned a point that everyone was just going against it. So one of the people that went against his comment were one of those black slaves. Most scholars say is Bilal, but Sheikh Mustafa Al-Adawi said, with the sanad we are having, with the chain of the hadith, the men that narrated the hadith, it is not, you can't be totally sure that it was Bilal. Because it was not, Bilal was not the only black Sahaba. Now, so he said one of the slaves who was a black person also opposed Abu Dhar, not someone of honor, based on Islam has equalized everyone. So the Abu Dhar, the black man was just trying to prove his point. The Sahaba, who was a black person, was trying to prove his point, despite he was still a slave under other Sahabas. But most of the slaves that accepted Islam, the Muslims bought them from their bosses. Just like Bilal, Abu Bakr bought him from his boss. Now, he bought him away from his boss so he can be treated well in Islam. So when he opposed his point, then Abu Dhar made a comment. He said, "Walau anta liyabna sauda, even you, this son of a black person, this son of a black mom, even you are arguing with me, like out of, like it's just a mistake. It was a mistake. That's even you know when you are arguing with someone." And the person just opposed you with probably a little insultful word, then you want to insult the person with something more painful. So that's what the Sahaba did, not knowing he has committed a sin. They are Sahabas, and one of the things about Sahabas is that Allah destined them to make a lot of mistakes to address us, we Muslims. Most of the things we forbid today, they were part of that the Prophet specified that are forbidden in Islam. We would have known them if not that Sahabas particularize these things in front of Prophet. So when he mentioned this statement that, oh you son of a black mother, even you son of a black mother, you are arguing with me, then Bilal had something to say in return, but the thing was so painful, not Bilal, sorry, the black person had something to say in return, but it was so painful that he had to keep quiet. He kept quiet. So when Prophet came, he heard about the incident and he called Abu Dhar. He said, Ya Abu Dhar, a'ajartahu bi ummi. So the Sahabas that was assaulted, he went to the Prophet to report. So the Prophet called the both of them, called Abu Dhar and asked him, a'ajartahu bi ummi. Do you insult him with his mother? This is the act of what? Jahiliyyah. Do you insult him with his mother? Then Abu Dhar was like, anyone who insults you, that is a natural something. It's a normal thing that when someone insults you, you insult them. It's very common during the time of Jahiliyyah in the Arab, that when someone insults you, you insult his father or his mother. So that way Prophet told him that that you are someone that what? That you still have some ignorant attitude in you. You still have in your iman, there is still some attitude that are out of Islam inside you. And Abu Dhar was like, he actually regretted the sin immediately. He was not having pride, but he never knew what he did was a sin. He was still on, maybe he still has those little attitude in him that they were practicing. He never knew it was a sinful thing. He just said it's something normal because Sahabas were learning Islam gradually. He said, for that thing you did, you still have some bad attitudes that those people that before Islam were practicing, they are still in you. He said, because he was an aged man. He said, even as old as I am, I still have bad attitude in me. Subhanallah. So for that reason, he ran back to where they made the arguments. And he did see the Sahaba that he insulted there. He went to his house, and when he met him, to show how regretful he was, that there is someone of honor, and to say that this black person was once a slave, or was still a slave. He, based on the pain and how regretful it was, he placed his hand on the ground. He bent down something like a sujood, and place his head on the ground. He said he will not leave this place till that person forgives him. So he seeks for forgiveness. That's why Sahaba, people that accepted what? Collections. That's what shows that it's a sign of Sahaba. But Sahaba, they are still human beings, that they still make mistakes, they still commit sins. So someone might think of that the act of practicing something that happened during the time of Jahiliyyah makes you a non-Muslim. No, except shirk. Even shirk, the Prophet made us understand that if you can do tawbah, and the ulama said that if you do tawbah from shirk before you die, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will still forgive you, might still forgive you with rahmah. But the only difficult one is when you die in shirk. You keep doing, worshipping Allah, worshipping something else, till God finally calls you. So the hadith stated that the Sahaba saw Abu Dharr and his slave. They were coming together, one of his slaves. What originated this story was Abu Dharr saw one of his slaves. The Sahaba saw Abu Dharr and one of his slaves. They were coming together with the same garment. لَبِسَ حُلَّ مَا حُلَّ عَبْدِهِ. Like he was wearing a garment, the same thing as that of his slave. وَعَلَيْهِ حُلَّةٌ وَعَلَى غُلَامِهِ حُلَّةٌ. That he was wearing a garment, and the slave was still wearing the same material of that garment. So they were like, are you putting on garments with your slave? That's when he told them the story of what happened. So after that incident, Prophet made him to know that, he compared it in this hadith, that those bad attitudes before Islam, neglect them. Neglect what? Neglect them. Then, once someone is under you, if someone is under you or is below you, then you should either wear them, even if it's your slave. You wear them from what you wear, and you feed them from what you feed from. You don't maltreat slaves. Don't say, oh, because it's my servant or it's my houseboy, you start maltreating them. No. Then people address them on how to manage their abd, because in the Arab it's very common. They have slaves. Just the way you see people saying they have houseboy, they had slaves. So he said you should treat them like your own. You wear them from what you wear, and you feed them from what you feed. So the key point of Abu Dharr was that he made a mistake, and Prophet corrected him. And he actually admitted to the correction. So he went to that slave to show how admissive he was, that he didn't show pride and said, are you supporting this common person? That's when he would have said, oh, he has showed down us. But it was a mistake based on what he's used to before Islam. So he went and begged the Sahaba and made sure the Sahaba forgave him. Then he actually changed that he was only putting on the same garment with his own servants, who might also be black too, or putting on the same garment with them. So to show how admissive he was, he actually put on what? The same garment. So the key point of the hadith that's from the topic that sins does not take you away from Islam except shirk, is that since the Prophet said this, innaka mru'un fika jahiliyyah, the Prophet said that you still have some ignorant attitude in you. He would have told him that you should repeat his shahada if that attitude he did. That if you have committed stealing, for instance, is one of the attitudes that happens before Islam, then zina. He said that if these things actually removes you from Islam, actually do remove people from Islam, according to Sheikh Uthaymeen, Sheikh Arifi, Sheikh Mustafa Al-Adawi, that if it actually removes from Islam, the Prophet would have asked him to what? To repeat his shahada. That as form of, before Allah will forgive him, you should repeat his shahada. The Prophet said no. He only asked him to what? He only corrected him, and he, with his own instincts and the regrets and the submissiveness he had, he went back to beg for forgiveness by his own self. So we should know, now we understand the story of Abu Dharr. Then the other moral of the hadith is, should try as much as possible. No matter the sin we commit, does not stop you from worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No matter the sin, you should still beg for forgiveness. Islamically, when someone commits zina as an example, when someone commits zina in a community that you practice Islam, you follow Sharia, unlike our community here that we actually don't have enough Sharia standards. But if you go to somewhere like the north or some parts in the west, they practice Sharia. If you are caught with the main proofs of Islam, that you have the witnesses intact, if you are caught, you'll be lashed what? 100 strokes. If you are a person that is not married for fornication, each person else will flog what? 100 strokes. They won't say, oh, because she's a girl, give her 50. Or because the boy is slim, give him 80, 100 each need strokes. Then if the person is a married person, then the person will be stoned to death. Be stoned to death or will be buried with stones. And if he's a rapist, if the person rapes someone, he will be killed instantly. Killing instantly. Someone proposed a sheikh one time and said, why would Islam ask you to kill someone just because he raped someone? I didn't know other penalties. He said, you call rape just, if someone should rape your mom, what will you do to the person? He said, I'll kill the person. He said, exactly. That's what Islam is doing. And if someone should sleep with your wife and catch God, what will you do to the person? He said, I'm going to kill the person. He said, exactly. Islam is asking you not to kill. They will help you do it based on the law. So if you should fornicate, based on the boyfriend and girlfriend thing we have today, in a normal Islamic organization, you'll be lashed 100 stroke. But what the hadith is telling you that he forgive all sins. So if you are the child of fornication here, that Allah actually, you are not actually lucky. You are actually in a very risky edge. But if Allah should save you that you have the instincts, the sense to do tawbah, you should better do tawbah. So scholars are made to understand saying instead that they don't give this punishment, and after you commit this sin, you have the sense to do serious tawbah and never go back to it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala what? Will forgive you. He can still forgive you with his rahmah. That's to show how high the rahmah of Allah is. Don't say, oh, I've committed a lot of things, I've drunk, I've went to parties, I've done zina. Then you can't do tawbah again, you can't pray again. Keep praying, keep seeking for forgiveness. Because on the day of judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, all people that commit sins, they will throw them to what? To hellfire. They will throw them to those people that are committing sins without forgiveness. They will throw all of them to hellfire. No matter what you do, don't leave Islam. Don't think you've done a lot of things. Then what's the difference between me and kafir? Keep praying. Still pray. No matter the sin you commit. In as much as you were not caught, make tawbah. And don't ever say to someone, I'm going to shake off me. Say, the any sin you commit and you're not caught, don't ever say to someone. Allah has security for you because He wants to give you the opportunity to make for forgiveness, to seek for forgiveness. But you don't know when Allah will take you. So that's why immediately once you commit the sin, just make it your last. Or the last time you commit sin and you've had something like this, just do the tawbah from now and never commit it again. Because you might die in the part of what? Committing the sin next time. So he says that on the day of judgment, anyone who commits sin, the person what? Will be sent to hellfire. Allah will, I explained in one other hadith, the previous hadith, we've done like 2 hadiths before that people of paradise will go to paradise, people of hellfire will go to hellfire. Even some Muslims will go to where? Hellfire for the sins they've committed. Allah will point them for the sin they committed. Because Sheikh Saad was telling us about the incident of Prophet Sallam and what? Abadar, this same Abadar, to show you how honorable he was. I would have mentioned one attribute of him, but let's leave that for now. So Abadar was a very close to have the Prophet Sallam, and he was having the Prophet Sallam was telling them that no matter the sin you commit, you will still enter Jannah. He said, even if you steal and you commit zina, he said, yes, even if you steal and you commit zina, you still enter Jannah, you still enter paradise. He repeated it 3 times. The God still repeated the answer 3 times. Then he said, it's okay, Abadar. That is if you make tawbah. If you make tawbah, you what? You forgive him. And if you don't make tawbah, on the day of judgment, you will still first of all get into hellfire first. You will all be what? You enter hellfire. Allah first of all punish you with all types of punishments in hellfire. But hellfire are of steps. The way Jannah have darajat, that's the same way hellfire have darakat. Maybe I will explain that some other time. So one of the least part are the Muslims that committed sins. The least part of hellfire, the Muslims that committed sins. So you taste all the punishment there first. Then on the day of judgment, the Prophet will go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah will be like, Ya Rasulullah, what do you want? He has punished the sinners. He has punished the sinners, the Muslims, the sinners, he has put them in the fire. And those that did good deeds, he has put them for others. Do you have anything to ask for? God said, yes, just help me forgive those that still believe, that still say, La ilaha illallah, that still believe that there is no word, God except Allah. Just let me forgive all those ones. After they've been punished, that's when Allah will now take them from what? From hellfire and put them in eternal water I will talk about. And that's how put them in eternal water. And when they reform totally, then he will take them to Jannah. So that's the point of the hadith, that no matter the sin you commit, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala what? Will still forgive you. We should try to make tawbah and not to die in what? In that sin. And we should try to, one of the sins you must forbid for yourself is what? Is shirk. For shirk is one dangerous sin that it's the only sin that it will cancel your ibadat. If you have worshipped, you fasted 200 fasting before, and you commit one shirk now, all that fasting you've done that would have even taken you to the highest part of paradise, it will erase everything totally. That's the danger of shirk, according to Imam Fawzan. So try to avoid shirk and to always make tawbah. And no matter the sin you commit, still keep worshiping Allah, still keep observing salah. We pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives our sin. And may He not use our sin to take us to hellfire. May He ease our hardship, because one of the reasons why we commit sin is based on hardship. Many people that play best today is because of hardship. They don't have any other choice. Pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase their iman for them to still be able to calm down even during the act of hardship. And so we pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to forgive us no matter the sins we commit. And may He make us be among those that enter Jannah without going to hellfire first. Because the point of hellfire is not something that we should imagine at all. ومن هنا أقف أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم وآخر الدعوة الحمد لله رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.